All right. So, hi, I'm Dr. Anthony Mitchell. I'm a practicing optometrist in the state of North Carolina. And today I'm going to go over what you can do to get yourself set up to be an optometrist if that is something that you're very interested in. And I'm going to do the same thing I've been usually doing. I think this is great because I can just pull up tabs and just walk you guys through my thought process or exactly what to do. And then you can see what I typed in. So that way you can go home at your leisure and just do the same thing too for more in-depth analysis. But first thing I'm going to tell you to do is you probably should just shadow an optometrist. This is great because it allows you to kind of figure out like if this is something you really want to do. You get to see someone in the profession doing the job, and then it gives you a good idea of like, you know, can you do that? It might be a little daunting at first, but it's really not that bad. And then getting shadowing an optometrist is actually way easier than what you actually think. I could almost guarantee you just about any optometrist, if you asked them if you could shadow them, they probably would just tell you yes. And so if you have a place in mind, um, I would just call up that place and, well, you could either call or probably just go up to the place and just see if you can talk to the doctor. And I can almost guarantee they'd figure out a day that's it's easy for them where you can just come in and kind of shadow them. And I would also be very specific on like what type of shadowing you want to do because there's different types of practices you can do. There's private practice, so if like you want to own your own business. There's corporate, so if you want to see something that happens in like a corporate setting, like America's Best or like VisionWorks, sometimes those are a little different. Or if you just want to like specialize in something, optometry's kind of changed where it's not just like glasses and contacts anymore. You can specialize in a specific thing in optometry. So if you only want to see kids, there are doctors that only see kids. And so if whatever you think you may be interested in, you can easily find an optometrist in that field, and then you can, like I said, just make a simple call, and they'll probably let you shadow. It's way easier than what you think. And if you think it's really hard, then everything else we're going to talk about is going to be even harder. So first thing is first, just call or just go. And I can promise you, just ask them if, hey, I'm interested in shadowing the doctor. Is that something you guys allow us to do? And they'll probably tell you they don't know. They'll have to talk to the doctor, and the doctor will get back to you, leave their number, and they'll probably contact you back and tell you, yes, if you come on this day for this amount of hours, you can come watch me do this, blah, blah, blah. I promise you, it's way easier than what you think. All right. Once you've decided that you shadowed and you're like, yeah, I definitely can see myself doing it, first thing you need to do is just type this in: how to become an optometrist. So Google's great. It's got a good overview, AI overview. I just typed this in too. It's very generic, I know, so it just seems very daunting when you look at it this way because you're like, man, this is a lot and I still don't really get it. But I promise you, I'm going to help you through this. So you do need to get an undergraduate degree for most schools, not all of them. Sometimes you can just do 3, and if you do really well on this test, which is called OAT, you can kind of skip the last year. And so if you decide you want to go like a fast-paced route, that is something you can do. Just do really good, get a higher GPA than this, bang out this OAT test, and then you can apply within 3 years and skip the last year and have your undergrad degree and go straight to optometry school. Now, the OAT test is a standardized test for optometry school, just like the DAT for dental and the MCAT for med school. The DAT and OAT are very similar. The difference between the OAT is it has like a physics part instead of doing that like the spatial awareness thing that dental school does. So anyway, so this is something you have to take for most schools. Some schools don't require it, but if they don't require it, they probably expect you to have a really good GPA to back that up. So this tells you like an average, but if you're not doing this and you pick a school that doesn't have this, they probably want to see you have a really, really strong GPA and very competitive classes. So keep that in mind too. And then once you've done those things, you get an optometry school. Optometry school is 4 years. There might be another one, but I know one school that you can do it in 3 years. That's in Pennsylvania. So you could speed run it even faster if that's something you wanted to do. You could do all this in 6 years instead of 8, which is average what most people do. But that school, you pretty much just live and breathe school for like a whole entire year, and your summers are non-existent. But it is something that you could do at that school, and there might be other schools out of it too, but that's the only one I know. And of course, once you've graduated, you have to take certain boards. These are national standard boards. If you do not pass these after you graduate, you do not become an optometrist. You can have the official degree, but you can't practice in any state until you pass the boards that you're expected. And some states require even more than just 3. Most of them just require 3, but some states require even more. Like North Carolina requires you to take an additional boards exam, and then a lot of states have their own state exam or they have their own state law exam, kind of like this referencing like California. So, and then once you've done all that, you can do a residency. This in optometry school, you don't have to do residency after you graduate. I would say probably pretty close to half of my class probably did. And so if you want to specialize, like I was mentioning before, in like low vision or pediatrics or special contact lenses or like disease, like you can specialize, you can do a residency after and just hone in just that specific thing, so that way you can get that on your belt, so that way when you practice, you can practice pretty much how you want and just be very specific. Optometry's changed. It's definitely way more than just like contacts and glasses. And so if if you're looking at this now, chances are when you go to school, they're really going to push residency and they're really going to push like disease, because the field is changing. Glasses and contacts are pretty easy concept for the most part, and it's super competitive now with like online. And so if you want to thrive in this type of environment, you definitely have to like up your skills and be very more niche and specific of being able to help people. So anyway, that is another option, and this is optional after you graduate. I did not do this because I didn't want to specialize in anything specific. But anyway, that is something you could do. So that is like a general overview. So the main thing you need to do, if you want to do this and you want to take this serious, you need this website right here, which is called OPTOMCAS. This is where everything you do is going to go. And so when you need to file everything to the school that you want to, every single school, every single optometry school that you could even think of that you would want to apply to has a certain guidelines. And you don't even have to necessarily even go to individual schools. You just go to this website, sign up, make an account, and then they're going to have this. It's a portal, and then all your things go to this portal. So when you take the OAT, it goes to this portal. When you graduate from your undergrad and you get your degree, your transcript's going to go to this portal. So everything goes directly to this. So that way it's categorized really easily. And then once you've done all the basic stuff, it's going to tell you step by step what to do. And once you've done all the basic stuff, it's going to send it to the schools that you decide that you would want to go to. And it's going to tell you what prereqs that they require. And, you're probably wondering, like, what school should I go to? There's a lot. Tons. There's a lot in California, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee. Oh, man, this is actually good because I actually know a lot of these states. Alabama, Florida, Pennsylvania. So anyway, there's a lot of states that have optometry schools. There's not that many schools, as you can tell, but there's a lot. And I think there's another one that's supposed to be opened up in North Carolina, so it's not available yet, I guess. I'm not sure when it opens or if it's already open. But anyway, this is the site you're going to go to, and then you're going to kind of figure out what school you want to go to. So if you don't want to go far and you live in Florida, you can find this school in Florida. There's actually 2 in Florida. But anyway, this is what you would do for that part. And then you're probably thinking, like, what the heck is an OAT? Like, that is, like I said, the standardized test. They have their own website, just like DAT and MCAT. You just go to that website, pick a date that you want to apply to take that test. You probably want to do this after you take like your science classes, and definitely after you're taking like your physics classes. So you want to be prepared when you take this. So this is like in-game undergrad type of stuff. And then every school has their own prereq. Again, OptomCAS is going to help you through this when you go through it. It's going to have everything laid out. So if the school requires a reference or whatever, any of those stuff, it's going to have it on there. So that way everything is done through that portal. And then every school has like their own prereqs in schools for what classes they would like you to take. And so this can show you here, and you can see, and even like shadowing, you need a certain amount of hours for certain schools. And then like you pretty much have to do the heavy hitter classes like organic chemistry, biochem, and these classes weigh a lot. And so you don't want to just take these classes and just barely pass these classes. Like, you want to take these classes and do well, because this is what makes you very competitive when you're trying to get into optometry school. And then of course this lists all of them in their actual prereqs on this site. And the same thing, I got this from OptomCAS. So all these things I'm kind of showing you is from OptomCAS. But like I said, if you don't know You can also just look at what I have here and just find it, and then you'll be able to kind of look at it a little bit more. Now, the school I went to is Indiana University. Sometimes when you, after you apply to schools, they might have some supplemental things you need to do. So if you want to make sure, after you finish your OPTOMCAS, you want to just go to the individual schools that you want, that you apply to, and just make sure there's no supplemental things you don't, other supplemental things you need to do, and other fees that you weren't aware of. And so go to their website, and then just kind of look at their stuff. They'll also bring up the dates. I can't remember OptoMCAS has the dates, but if not, like I said, the schools show you their deadlines of what they expect and when things are sent in. Because some things don't have to be sent in all at one time for the schools. Sometimes they'll do an interview with you without you, graduating or without you having to take the OAT, and they'll put like a pending status based on you waiting on those types of results. But I really like this school when I went there. So I'm not trying to tell you to go to this school. This school I went to, they did really well. But same thing, any school, you could just go to the map that I showed you, type in, like California, type in optometry schools, all these are going to pop up to Berkeley and so forth. And then you just look at their supplemental things. Everything is done on OptoMCAS. Easy peasy. Sign up. Then just go straight through the prompts and just do exactly what it tells you to do. It takes a long time. Everything's slow, but they have all the prompts and it's going to tell you exactly what to do. And then once you've graduated optometry school, whether you did the 3-year route or the 4-year, 4 years is what most people do, you're going to end up taking the MBEO. There's 3 tests you need to take. They're standardized tests. You cannot practice without passing all 3 of these. You can graduate optometry school, become an eye doctor, and still not be able to practice in any single state unless you have taken this test and passed it. It is a standardized test where you're competing against your other peers. And so this is, like I said, and then before, there's a lot of different tests depending on what you decide to do. So in certain states require additional, but the standard 3 are what you would want to be able to do when you want to practice. And then after you've taken a standardized test and graduated, once you've decided what state you would like to practice in, you will need to Google that state and figure out if they have what they require for, what is this? I'm actually typing it out. It's an NC optometry board. Yeah, so you'll need to look up what they require for the states beyond that, because not every state is equal. North Carolina is a heavy hitter. They want you to take more than just the standardized stuff, because you have to take an additional test in order to practice in North Carolina. And so anyway, if you learned something new or you're very excited to be an optometrist, you can leave a comment below. I'll answer your question as best as possible, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you.